guys. So let's settle down some. We need you to sing this song with us. Listen up, listen up.
The question is, what is the one biggest sin? The one biggest sin that humanity has ever committed, what is that? What is that one biggest sin, right? So that's the question. So there's actually only just one sin, right? And that is, according to me, there is just one sin, and that is the only sin that humanity has ever committed. You know, that is the sin of forgetting who we are, right? As human beings, right? We've forgotten who we are. When we come to this earth, we come in pure, with pure intentions and understanding who we are. But we get here, we're influenced by many things, and then we forget who we are. Right, so here's the thing. The thing is, when we come into the body, we understand that we are the life that is entering the body. We come in here knowing that we are not the body, we are not the flesh, but the life that is entering the body. So we come knowing that, right, that without us, the flesh is dead. Without us, this body does not exist. We come knowing that's very well. But what happens is, because we come into a world where we are born into families and we have people that have been taught by society to forget who they are, they've been influenced by many other things. Before I elaborate on that, let me just make an example. If you look at gold, right, if you can take a beautiful golden stone, right, the beautiful golden rock, and you put it there, if nothing blocks the view, it keeps shining and it stays beautiful, and so on and so forth, right? But if you start throwing soil on top of the gold, you start throwing mud on top of the gold, eventually the gold gets covered and gets covered and gets covered. And eventually, when people look where the gold is, they do not see the gold, but they see the soil or the mud that has covered the gold, right? It doesn't mean that the gold is no longer there, but what it means is that people do not recognize the gold, but they recognize that as the mud because they don't see the gold anymore. So when we come into this earth, we come in as the gold, right? But we come into societies with their own created values, right? We come into societies who have created religions, and through the religions have created rules and ways to live. You go to this country, this is the dominating religion, therefore this is how people live. You go to another country, there's another dominating religion, and that is how people live. So in all these different places, the different religions, and the purpose of the religions is to teach you the ways of this world, right? But what that does is they're actually unteaching you or causing you to forget who you truly are. But because when you came into the body, you came in knowing. But once you were one with the body, as these things continue, them teaching you all these things, they are teaching you to forget who you truly are, right? Because, and then what happens is later, because the gold would always want to shine, right? That is what happens at later. Then you start seeking enlightenment. You hear people talking about enlightenment, right? You start seeking enlightenment. You start talking about being woke, right? You start a lot talking about spirituality instead of religion, because the gold wants to shine, because somehow you know that all these things that they've been teaching you in this world are not you, right? Therefore you seek to come out, you seek enlightenment, you consult, you seek, right? You start thinking spiritually and spirituality as you grow older, because the gold now wants to come back, right? So what has to happen here is we need to unlearn all the things we have been taught, because there is nothing new for us to learn. Like I'm saying, we came in knowing who we were, who we truly were, right? So therefore, there is nothing for us to learn, but it is for us to unlearn. That is like starting slowly to remove the soil or the mud on top of the gold, start scraping it off until the gold shines again. And when the gold shines again, that is the state we call enlightenment, right? And other movements, when you are in that state, they call you a guru. In other movements, they call you a lord or a god or whatever. So there's different terms that they give to this thing, but that is what we need to do to unlearn what we've been taught until the gold can shine again. So because of this thing, us coming into religions, right? Religions created the rules, and when you break the rules as set by the religion, those faults, they're not considered sins, right? That is why now we have so many sins, and these sins are different depending on which religion you belong to, right? There's many different sins in other cultures or other religions. One thing is a sin, and in another it is not a sin. So the sin is not across humanity. The sin does not span across life. If you look at the people that have not found religion, for instance, the people maybe that live in the mountains, the things that they do, some people belonging to other religions would consider them as barbaric or very sinful. But to them, they are just a comfortable way of life, and that's how they do things. So through religion, right, all these many different sins were born, but without religion, these different sins do not exist. You know what I mean? So the only sin that we've ever committed is the sin of truly forgetting who we are. We have forgotten that we are not the flesh, but we are the life that is in the flesh, right? That we make the flesh move. That if we step out of the flesh, then the body does not move. But for as long as we choose to be in the body, then the body is active, right? This is what people consider or call death, right? Death is basically you stepping out of the body because you are not the body, right? So it means that if you understand who you truly are, you could step in and step out of the body as and when you want to. You know what I'm saying? So that's the sin. That's the number one sin. That's the only sin we've ever committed, forgetting who we were. Because if we never forgot that, life would be blissful, man. You know, we need to look at children. Children must be a reminder for us of who we truly were. Right? People look at you when you're older, being very playful, and they're telling you that you're childish. But that is actually who you were, you know. Kids are considered childish as a negative thing because they have nothing to worry about, for instance, right? You too must have nothing to worry about because you are not the flesh. You know what I mean? Therefore, being joyful and happy and bubbly, people consider it childish, but those are the things we came with into this world, that we were just like that. You know what I mean? So we need to look at our children around us and actually learn, try to remember who we were through them, and try to rectify that one sin that we committed. That is the sin we have committed as a people.